Mic check. I have no way of checking the mic. So what am I saying mic check for? Yep, I'm trying to do live. Give me some questions while I'm at this red light. Just got off work in Dallas. Traffic is crazy. I don't have shit to say. I want some questions. I do have a lot to say. I've been wanting to do some videos. I got a lot to say. About all the rituals going on, about Christmas. Can you hear me? What's up, Riri? Can you hear me? All right. Space. Okay, be more specific. Space. The final frontier. You mean like outer space? Okay, while I'm waiting on you to answer, let's talk about this. Um, let's talk about the real power. Damn, shit flooded. The real power of the season that we in. Now, most of us, when we first start waking up, I remember for me watching Ishaka Musa Barashango and his lectures on European holidays, you know, which he was dropping, you know, about all the Thanksgiving and Christmas um, and so you get to that point where you're like, I ain't having nothing to do with none of these holidays and all of that. But this is supposed to be a university where you keep on studying, you keep learning. There are layers to your understanding. There are layers to your so-called consciousness. I guess I should get over. I need to get one of those one of them things you can put on your dashboard. You can hold this phone. Okay, so he gave an excellent perspective on the origin. Well, I don't want to say origin. The European perspective of holidays. But what we must know is that although it may appear that it be before religion will be obsolete or will ever be over, I don't know. I don't think religion will ever be obsolete as long as human existence continues, because people will always look for something outside of themselves to give reason for their existence, because it's very lonely and scary to accept your own divinity. It's cool to call yourself God and Imhotep and all that, but you know, when you really have to accept that you're in some shit, and it's like, you know, I can't go down to First Ebenezer Baptist Church and and put it all in the Lord's hands, then that's some scary shit. If you don't have anything else to fall back on. But this whole Christmas thing. Now, the deeper we study, now we have to ask ourselves, are we contradicting ourselves when we're talking about, as melanated people, how great we are and how we were everywhere? Now, Runoko Rashida, or however you say his name, Roshidi, did all the books on African presence in Europe, Asia. Of course, he was a pupil of Ivan Van Sertima. We know all the work that he did that came before Columbus and the golden age of the Moors. You've got Sheikh Anta Diop. You got endless scholars who have exhaustively proven that melanated people populate, not populated past tense, but populate present tense everywhere on the globe and originate every culture that you can think of. So with that in mind, you have to go back and revisit the concept of, oh, this is a European creation. Then you have to even go back, because I am one of them who, once I started studying etymology, who used to talk about how, oh, English is a bastardized language and this and that. But hold on now. If you're really studying etymology, you will find that all language comes back to one source. Now see, this is a trick. This is a trick. You are given variations of consciousness. Now, when they see you starting to wake up, so-called, they'll give you different aspects to make you feel like you are really on top of things. Okay? You have to really, really sit and ponder on this shit. You have to really sit, and some of this shit is common sense. How is it that you've been all over the globe and language does not all tie in together? Because if you've been all over the globe, that means you started all civilization, and civilization is driven through symbolism, then so that's a major clue. That's why, see, this is the key. In linguistics, like in universities, they will run you all around Robin Hood's barnyard with all these different variations of linguistics, linguistic anthropology, and all these different. I know a dude that work at a metaphysical shop around here. This boy been in school for, I know, he been in college, I know, damn near 10 years. You know, he got a fellowship to go to Penn State, I mean, he is super intelligent, white guy. But he overcomplicates shit because he has been trained through the university to have an ultra left brain mind. So some shit you ain't got to go and spend years trying to prove one thing. Some shit is just common sense. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't study, because I'm a big proponent of studying, but some shit just becomes overkill. Now, why do they create these approaches to scholarship in a university? Because there's one great secret that must be withheld from the masses or the common people. And that is that all language comes out of one source. See, this is where you got to go to the Bible. When you see the story, read the story of the Tower of Babel, that's some real shit. Now, no, so you got to understand how to read mythology and separate the wheat from the tare, eat the fish and spit out the bones. Now, we know it wasn't no people over in Sumer building a damn tower that went up into the clouds. Now, come on now. Now, of course, that's a mythology. But the story is still real. How is it real, Jamal? Because they are giving you an account of what is called a dream time. Dream time is pre-time. It's before time exists. It's almost a pre-human state. So they're telling you that pre-human state would be what we call thought. Thoughts become things. Everything begins as a thought, as a universal thought. So when this first fell down into this thought first fell down into what we call three-dimensional reality, it had a system of communicating. And that system is called archetypal language. And see, an archetype is composed of a myriad of symbols. And the symbol then breaks down and becomes an array of languages. But if you keep tracing them back, you do enough and trace it back, you will find that they all come out of an archetype. The Tower of Babel story is an archetypal story. It's telling you that there was one tongue they spoke. Well, if you study any linguistics, let me see if I can think of an example for you. In Arabic, the word for when you smoke the hookah, it's called agila. Now listen to this. See, the shit ain't this complicated. They call it phonology. That means that the shit sounds alike. It is. Agila. What does that sound like? A guitar. Agila. A guitar. Well, if you look at the agila or the hookah when you smoke it, it's a belly-shaped structure that is where you're pulling the smoke up out of and smoking the tobacco. Well, what does a guitar look like? A guitar has a round belly, which is how it generates that particular sound. Now, what else looks like a agila, a guitar? Alligator. See? And when you put all these and mix and match, you'll find all this shit is the same. Now, the reason I brought all that up is because getting back to this Christmas thing. An initial stage of consciousness, you are identifying, should I get up on this damn? Fuck this. I'm trying to sit in this traffic. You are going through a phase where you have to re-establish, become reacquainted with your greatness. It is the initial phase of Afrocentrism that occurred from the 80s through the early 90s. Kemet was black, Greece learned from Kemet, so forth. It was about reestablishing, man, I'm spitting and shit. I gotta concentrate. I'm up on this motherfucker. Yeah, y'all can go around. I want y'all to see this shit. That's why I ain't bullshitting up here. Look at this. Okay. Concentrating. Okay, so that initial phase Well, that was the purpose, to reestablish confidence. Okay? Now, part of the problem with us is that we get stuck in a certain rut and we don't keep pushing. And that is not to take anything away from Ashaka Musa Barashango or any other scholar, because we're talking about building a structure. So somebody had to come and put the footing down and foundation, then you put the frame up, then you start putting sheetrock, so forth. You don't sit just when the frame of the house been put up and just say, oh man, look at this nice wood. Look at that pine. That sure is nice. And then somebody like, but fool, you keep getting rained on. And then you're gonna argue them down about, nah, well, my daddy built this frame. How you gonna disrespect my daddy? He built the frame of this house. And you're like, I'm not disrespecting your daddy. I'm just saying you need to continue building the fucking house. So that's what we're doing here. Okay? So Christmas is a very powerful time. Why do you think all this shit is going on? Why do you think it's so important for people to go out and spend money? Because it's not about actual consumer spending. It's about they're using charge cards. They are trading currency. They're trading energy. Because the cosmos is rife with energy at this time. You set it up, so you ought to be aware of this and looking to benefit. Here's the deal. Christmas is supposedly celebrating the birth of Jesus, right? All right. Now, we're going to piece something together here. The goddess Kore is a bad motherfucker. Kore. Kore. Kore is the same as Kali from India. She's Isis in Egypt. And she is the regulator of time. So let me give you a version of the Christmas story dealing with the goddess Kore. And I'm going to show you how different religious concepts tie into this and how we've lost certain knowledge through the canonization of the Bible and the Roman Catholic Church and things of that nature, who their goal was to shut down knowledge or gnosis. Okay. Kore, who is also known as Demeter, also known as Persephone. Kore is out. This is the mythology. I'm going to give you one version. She is out in the fields one day, harvesting crops, I think, how it goes. Pluto comes up out of Hades and he decides he wants her. He's smitten by her. He opens up the earth and then he snatches her down into the earth, onto the core of the earth. Now, mind you, while she's up there harvesting or working in the fields, there are these pigs out there who are feeding. So when he opens up the earth and snatches her down, these pigs get sucked down with her. Okay? So she goes down into the underworld and becomes his lover. All right? And then after a certain period of time, a third of the year, she rises back out of the underworld. Now, when she goes into the underworld, she is Persephone. She comes out, she's Demeter. Another version, she goes into the earth, she's Kore. She comes out as Chorus. Now, I want you just stay with me on this now. Show you how dynamic language is and how dynamic one name is. Core is where we get the name cardio from, as in heart. Now I'm gonna tell you how tripped out this is. You take the word heart, I'm sure y'all know this. Heart is an anagram of the word earth. So where did core get sucked down into? She got sucked down into the core of the earth. What is the story really telling you, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna see if somebody tell me where tell me where I'm going with this. She got sucked down into the earth. Now, while y'all think about that, you know, in the Bible, in Isaiah and Ezekiel, there's the account of Satan being thrown out of hell, and he is thrust down into the pit. Now, if the pit is in the earth, and earth is an anagram of the word heart, core got sucked down into the earth. Somebody help me out. Tell me where I'm going with this. What is the story really talking about from a spiritual perspective? Yes, the earth is hell. Yes, it is hell. But what is that? What does it really mean, though? Okay, listen. The word earth is an anagram for the word heart. Do y'all know what anagram? It just means it's another word that's hidden inside the spelling of a different one. So if I want to talk about the heart, I could hide it and scramble it and just say earth. Because you move those letters, the same letters that make up the word earth make up the word heart. Core is where we get the word heart from. It's in cardio. And then she's thrust into the earth is an anagram of the word heart. The story is about she has gone down into the depths of the heart. Christ represents desire, because desire deals with the longings of the heart. The heart. So going down into the grave is going into the heart. C. Freeman L., the great master, used to say, the black man is buried in a shallow grave in the east. The east is the heart. West is your spine. He's saying you are buried in your heart. So when you're standing upright and perpendicular, it is talking about standing up, coming out and through your heart. In the Bible, it says, no one can come to the Father but by me. Through the heart. The heart. The heart is the womb and it is the tomb. You die when you go to the heart, and you are rebirthed through the heart. That's why it's called the passion of Christ, because we're talking about passion deals with your heart. Not your ego, but the true desires of your heart. And the true desires of your heart don't always make sense in a rational world. So back to Christmas. Core goes into the earth, she comes back up. As Chorus, the risen child, which is the same as Horus. Listen, Chorus, Horus. See the significance? See the correlation? And what do we call a group of people who are singing a chorus? And what are they doing? They're bellowing a sound. And what is a sound? It's a vibration. What is a vibration? It's a wave. Waves go through what? Water. Water is feminine, dealing with the goddess. The tides of the waters ebb and flow based on the cycles of the moon. The moon is tied to the cycles of the menstrual. Kali is the goddess of the menstrual. From Kali, we get calendar. Kali, Kor, Isis. Chorus, Horus. Everything is connected. The goal is for you to always, of those who don't want you to know, is to always keep you looking in pockets. That's why when you go, Bobby Hemmett used to say this, and I concur, because I go and I done been in countless bookstores, and the same shit. They compartmentalize knowledge. I have a book that I found in the oceanography section called Water, Pure and Simple. One of the baddest ass metaphysical books I've ever gotten. Oceanography section. Now, if I had the type of mind to where I just always went to metaphysical section, I'd be trapped. Because the metaphysical section, like at half price books now, is bullshit. They used to have some shit in half price books. Now they got a bunch of garbage. Oh, the light of a new tomorrow, and walking in the Christ light, all that motherfucking bullshit. Either I done bought up all the shit, or Waleed's ass done bought up all the shit, because that nigga is fucking up my damn book inventory. Shout out to the homie. Or they just holding shit back now. So if you have a one-track mind and you just go to metaphysics looking for metaphysics, you ain't gonna find shit. You gotta go and look in psychology, because if you get some Carl Jung shit, metaphysics. Even some of the fucked up Freud shit, metaphysics. Louise von Franz, metaphysics. You gotta go over into the religion section and get you some Idris Shah or some Kabril Gibran on some Sufi information. Heavy shit. Don't be fooled by the Sufi shit. When they're talking about the love, they're talking about core. They're talking about hell. Hell is where the transformation occurs. So you can't disregard Christmas. You can throw away the damn bullshit that is associated with it. But the essence of it, oh no, that's some big time shit. Because we're going into a point of the year in Capricorn which deals with death. Things are frozen. Shit is falling off the trees. Water's freezing up. It's cold. Vegetation ain't growing. It's death. But death is the transformational tool for there to be life. It's called the ebb and flow, the rhythm of the universe. This is the time where you are becoming feminine and you are drawing in the energy, drawing this shit in. You can't be always going outward and being exuberant and you know, you lose your fire. There has to be a time where you are sitting back and receiving. That's the feminine aspect. This is the feminine aspect of the year. It's cold. Shit is withdrawing. Shit is withering up. That's not bad. Because you got to think of it like a spring. A spring coils up. Why do you think they call spring season spring? Because the spring coils up in the winter. It starts to coil in the fall. And by the time we get to the winter solstice, that spring is completely loaded with potential energy. So what you are celebrating is the fact that the energy in the spring that has been bound up is now being released. Thus, the days start to slowly get longer. And what it is representing is that core is coming up out of the earth. Now, I told you that they say some pigs were grazing in the area when core was snatched down into the depths of the earth, right? So we know that if you are a true Christian dealing with the Old Testament, you ain't supposed to eat no pork. It ain't just the Muslims. A Christian, that's Old Testament, Leviticus or Deuteronomy, one of the two, you ain't supposed to eat no pork. Now we know that Muslims don't eat pork. Now, what you're seeing is an outgrowth that is the reflection of a loss of knowledge, because they have deified the concept of not eating certain things, or something that is done on a physical level. They have relegated spirituality to morals and dogma. The pig, of course, yeah. You know, if you know a pig gonna shoot your blood, I don't eat pork because I don't eat it. I don't think it's good for me. But I don't think I'm no more fucking holier than you. If your ass sit in front of me and eat a ham sandwich, that don't make you no less spiritual than me. I just don't want to eat that shit. But I want to tell you the spiritual significance behind the pig. I'm gonna give you some motherfucking game today. The pig. The pig is what? The pig is where we get the word consumer from. So first of all, when they get on the news during the so-called Christmas holidays and say consumer spending is up, they're shitting on you because they're calling you a pig. Because a pig just takes in and takes in. It has no governor. It just keeps eating and consuming. Whatever you throw out to it, slop. Wallow in slop. Roll around in shit and mud. It's nasty. So the pig is considered unclean. The Bible says that. The Quran says that. The pig is unclean. But let me give you the true game on this shit. Yes, the pig is unclean. But shit is unclean too. But if it wasn't for shit, first of all, your ass would be dead. Because he or she who does not shit might as well quit. I had to think of some shit to rhyme with that. If you don't shit, you might as well quit. Because you through dealing. Here's another aspect. Shit and all its toxicity is the necessary you've heard me say this a million times. Shit is the necessary component for life to be regenerated. And what that's dealing with is alchemy. Something nasty, putrid, funky is the actual most important ingredient for the regeneration of life. So, the pig was in the field with Core. The old nasty pig that'll eat slop, wallow in shit, roll around in mud, nasty. The pig gets sucked down into the underworld. Now the ritual that they would maintain was that they would venerate Core, and they would throw some pigs down into the earth and let them rot until the next year. And then these snakes would go and eat the pigs and so forth. Then they'd pull up the rotten remains. And you might think that's some foul shit. Again, the ritual is dealing with alchemy. It's saying, one, that something that is perceived as being nasty and putrid, we are understanding that it too has something divine in it. So at this one time of the year, ancient cultures would consume pork. No other time during the year, but they would consume it at this time of the year because that was them acknowledging its significance in the process of alchemy. Heavy shit. So when Core comes back out, of course, from a farming standpoint, it represents that the sun is rising again and crops will once again be plentiful. But I want you to apply this. Let's bring it on home now. Let's apply this to your life. When you are going through shit, unbelievable shit, unending shit, what you are actually doing is you are going down into the pit. You're going down into the core of the earth. You are actually going down into your heart. Not the daytime drama heart of, oh, I love you, Karen. Not that bullshit. We're talking about your real heart. And in your real heart, you start discovering who you really are and what you really are, and therefore what you should do. And the information that you pull out of your heart may go against everything that you thought um, was your path. Can I share something personal with y'all? For the past few years, I had the misconception that I was going to be a YouTube scholar. Yep. I was going to be that nigga that go on there and have 50,000 subscribers, and every day I get on there and give you some deep shit, and I sell you some shit, some shoestrings, and tell you it's holy rope or some shit, you know. No, I wasn't gonna try to scam nobody. I gotta put a little levity into it. But no, but seriously, I thought I was gonna be able to teach full time like that. And I was gonna write books and, you know, do a little personal training on the side and such so forth. Well, I had some things happen that made me question my own manhood on some pure mundane shit. Meaning, as a man, you know, I'm supposed to be able to provide for my family and, you know, take care of business and so forth. And that whole thing of being that poor righteous teacher, you know, that shit don't cut it. It's okay to do that shit if you only got yourself to be responsible for. But when you have other people that you're responsible for caring for, that bullshit don't fly. So guess what I had to do? I had to get back out there and find me some employment. I started out working, I say it now, I worked at Frito-Lay. I worked in what was called the bean dip department. And when I tell you that shit might have been a step above slavery, I had to put on icy hot every morning before I go to work. You know, pushing 300-pound baskets around, and, you know, knuckles be all beat up, shoulders hurt, feet hurt, back hurt by the end of the day. And I got to the point, you know, at first I, you know, complaining and shit. I was like, man, what the fuck are you doing? You applied for this job. And first of all, you put yourself in a situation where you had to be working at this motherfucker. And when I kind of just stopped bitching, and I accepted the now. Not that I accepted that was my fate, but I accepted the now, that moment. This is where I'm at right now. You know, I found some better employment, actually using my so-called education. Oh shit, they done clipped the nigga. Mm. They can see I'm driving through the Bermuda. Hey, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Are we back? All right, all right. The point is that place that I was working at was a version of hell. And many of the experiences I've been through over these last, let me see, eight years have been my version of hell. Now, I'll be completely honest. At first, you do a bunch of bitching and complaining and moaning and groaning, you know, when it's just like, man, this shit ain't, what's going on? Because you're still thinking that you can hold on to a reality that you had before. And you're still thinking that you can go and regain something. That was my problem. I wasted a lot of time trying to regain what I had before I went through this transformation. And what you have to do is allow you to die. That is the story. That is the beautiful story that is hidden in the Christmas story. Because the Christmas story and the Easter story ain't nothing but the same exact story. They just had to break it up and package it so that, you know, each one can be marketed. But the Easter story of Jesus dying and rising after 3 days is the same as the Christmas story, because the whole birth of Jesus is based on the sun going into a grave, or which is the solstice, and pausing, or what it appears to pause for 3 days, and then rising. So if you take the essence of what the original archetypal meaning of this ritual is, it's very beautiful. And it can help you navigate through troubled waters. Another mistake that I've made in the past few years is, and I'm really understanding this a lot more studying Kabbalah, is that when you get too heavy on one side, you will have things happen to help to balance your ass out. And you might, help may sound like, oh, that's good, but help don't always appear as some shit that makes you feel good. A lot of times the actual spiritual help that you're getting feels like something's trying to fuck you up. Facts. So I got too heavy on the spiritual side. So I had some things occur to slap me in my face. And I can remember times when I've gotten too heavy on the material side and I had shit smack me in the face. If you study the Kabbalah, let's just look at, Geburah and Hesed. If you look at those two Sephiroth, one is on the pillar of mercy, one on the pillar of severity. When you get too heavy on the Martian side or the war side or the Geburah, you're gonna have something that comes that's gonna some type of tragedy that's right, polarity, or what appears to be polarity. Something's gonna happen to pull you back to the middle. because the true essence of the Kabbalah is the spine, which is the middle. Am I back? Shit went to Bardo realm again. I don't know. Can y'all hear me? Microphone checker. 1, 2 checker. Are we back? Mic check. 1, 2, 3. We're live and direct. Okay, so when you get too off your kilter and too much to one side or the other, expect some type of mishap or tragedy to occur to swing you back towards the middle. I don't know if this shit back or not. Can y'all hear? Or can you hear? So let me try to hurry up and wrap this up. So the idea is constantly seek balance. We'll come back and talk about this again. I'm going to be doing a video on Christmas to go more in depth and understanding why all of the crazy things are going on right now. Give you just a real quick Reader's Digest version. This is the year of 2017. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1, which is a phallus. And when the goddess goes to mourn the death of her son. So you got different versions of this thing. You got one where her daughter dies, one is she dies, and then there's one that the son dies. All the same thing. She mourns the death of the son, but then they go and celebrate his resurrection. Now, from a sexual standpoint, when you are engaged in sex and the man ejaculates, that is the death. He is now going into the underworld. But, after a little bit of time passes, he regains his strength and he's able to stand back up again, erect. See, once you discover a truth applies on all levels, all angles. So with this year adding up to a 1, it represents a phallus. So that's why all of the Harvey Weinstein stuff is coming out, all the John Conyers, and I mean, we can't even keep track of all of the different people who supposedly are being accused of sexual deviance. So this all deals with the whole statement by Trump about Palestine, him announcing that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, which is actually in Palestine, but he's talking about something. Think about this from your Bible days, those of you who got that background. He's talking about The New Jerusalem. What's the name of the Catholic Bible? The New Jerusalem. So he's speaking in code. So hopefully, 1 or 218, the number of chaos. Right. Chaos and gateway. Gateway. So we need to be on a personal level preparing the child that we are going to bring into the world in 2018, if the world still exists, if your world exists. If your world exists in 2018, then be prepared to bring in the type of child that you want to bring through the birth canal into reality. And I'm not speaking of, I don't need to explain what I'm saying. I'm speaking in metaphor. So I'm back at the house. So I'm going to go in here and get this monkey suit off. Appreciate y'all tuning in. This is my first time trying to do live. It's pretty cool. My bicep is about to go dead, though, from holding this damn phone. Brother Jamal, mastersofthecosmos.com. Peace. I will. How the hell do I cancel this shit?